I did my treatment strategy based on the point of view as the social worker working with Martin initially at his job. Social work treatment plans may involve a number of different intervention methods and treatment styles. For someone suffering from PTSD, I would elect to let a trauma focused therapist handle any counseling aspects. Um, but as a social worker, I can provide an initial crisis intervention, advocate for my client, and create a case management plan. Um, and I would follow these common steps as you see in the slides for the case management. For the assessment, well, while depending on how far I go with my degree, I may not be qualified to diagnose someone with PTSD. I certainly can assess for it. And for that, I would use the PCL5. I'll talk more about why I chose that instrument later. But in addition to assessing for PTSD, I would assess for other needs the client may have that are not being met. PTSD treatment will be much more effective if the client is not simultaneously distracted by food insecurity, being behind on bills, or if the client has low health insurance coverage for mental health services. There's just a lot of obstacles or roadblocks that can get in the way of an already difficult process to recovery. So we want to make sure that Martin doesn't have any distractions in any other realms of his life. For risk evaluation, the client must be screened for suicidal ideation as well as severity of symptoms. This will also give me an idea on how much time I should expect to set aside for Martin going forward as his case manager. And it'll also let me know if there are immediate measures that need to be taken to ensure Martin's safety. As far as planning, the planning stage will include finding a mental health provider as well as establishing goals and desired outcomes. In this case, it could be to resolve any deficiencies in support and assistance and to determine the right fit for a therapist in regards to Martin's needs and interests. I would also inform Martin about any local or online support groups for those suffering from PTSD, as he may be interested in joining one of them. That might be a good idea for him. And then concerning implementation and evaluation, this is also referred to as care coordination sometimes. This step is comprised of putting the decisions made during the planning stage into action. With Martin, we would have decided on a therapist in this stage already, as well as constructing a measurable outline for previously decided upon goals. As Martin begins treatment with his therapist and we work together on resolving other possible issues, I would evaluate his progress. These goals would be drastically different than goals he and his therapist have drawn up. Instead, our goals will focus on establishing and maintaining contact with a therapist and any appropriate goals that were created to transcend any potential deficits in Martin's support and assistance networks. This could also include other goals that Martin wished to work on that are independent of issues stemming from his PTSD symptoms. These goals could address employment, friend and family relationships, health and nutrition changes, or any variety of topics that the client wishes to improve upon in his life. However, if PTSD symptoms appear to be the primary obstacle between Martin and these improvements, I would have Martin outline these goals with his therapist. Lastly, I would assess Martin's symptom improvement and rapport with his therapist in case we wanted to look at finding a different therapist or modality of treatment. To measure these improvements, I would do additional assessments with the PCL5 throughout our time together. The reason I chose the PCL5 is because it's a tool that is good for utilizing periodically over time so that you can track uh, symptom symptoms, whether they're getting better or worse. And so in using this, I can compare Martin's results going forward with his original PCL5 assessment score, and that way we can get a solid reference for his improvement.